Now, starting with the silt control devices. So in the previous uh, lecture, you have studied about the diversion headworks, and we have studied one device also there, which prevented the entry of silt into the canal. So there are some other devices also, but why we need to control the silt and how we achieve it and where we need to provide these devices. So that will be discussed here. Okay. So suppose this is the river. If you have a river in this particular slide, its direction of movement of the water, direction of flow of water is also indicated by this arrow. And we need to divert this water into a canal. So this thing is achieved by diversion headworks that you have studied. So we provide the guide banks, marginal bunds, then the weir or the barrage section, divide wall, and the head regulator here. So this is the portion where we provide the head regulator and we divert the water into the canal. But it's not only one canal which is basically withdrawn directly from the river, but the water in the canals, because canals are the artificial water carrying structures, ultimately the water will be fed through the rivers only. So the canal ultimately has to start from the river. But once we have taken the water from the river and diverted it to a canal, thereafter the single canal cannot go everywhere. We need to divert the water from canal to canal also. Okay, so we need to divert the water from this canal to this canal. Okay, now further we can have some divergence from this canal to the next canal. So canal to canal diversions are all of similar nature, and the very first thing here, that is from river to canal. So the first diversion is from river to canal. Thereafter all the diversions will be from one canal to the other canal. Okay, so the structure that we provide over here for this diversion, to assist this diversion of water from river to canal, that is called the diversion headworks. But the same purpose is required to be performed by some device here when the water will be diverted from canal to canal. But canal to canal diversion is not achieved by providing the diversion headworks. It is achieved by providing canal headworks, because diversion headworks needs to take care the vagaries of this river also. The uncertain behavior of the river also is to be taken into account, and huge quantity of water is there in the river. So the structure to be provided here, that is entirely different. So it is called the diversion headwork. But when the water is required to be diverted from one canal to the other, so what kind of structure we provide over here, that is called canal headworks. Okay, but uh, during this journey of water from river to canal, then canal to canal, and then further this canal to the next canal, the water takes some silt also along with this. The water takes some silt when it is diverted. Though in the previous lecture we have studied one device which was provided to prevent the entry of silt from river to canal, but entire silt cannot be filtered out. Okay, so we have to provide some structures. So what kind of structures are provided? I have categorized them into three categories basically. So where these structures are to be provided and what is the category of the structure. So let us see. So before that, I would like to make a mention over here that from this point onwards, we have provided canal to canal diversion. So the canal from where the water is to be diverted, the canal from which the water is to be diverted, that is called the parent canal. Okay, like at this point, this is the parent canal, and the canal in which the water is diverted, that is called the off-taking canal. Okay, now moving downstream side, if we need further diversion and if you take out some other canal out of it, then of course this canal will be acting as parent canal, and the next canal to which the water is diverted, that will be termed as the off-taking canal. Okay, so Now coming to the devices. So this is the location. The circle represents the location where the device will be provided, and the number indicates its category. Okay. So first type of structure that will be provided within the river. So this location is within this river only, but it is on the upstream side of this canal. So canal head regulator is provided over here. So on the upstream side of the canal head regulator, this category 1 structure will be provided. So this is provided in the river only. So second location is, this circle represents the second location, and the number 2 represents the second type of the devices. So here same device cannot be provided over here. It is of different category, different devices there, but location is here. So where is this location? It is within the canal at the downstream of this canal head regulator. It is a little downstream side of the canal head regulator. Some structure is provided over here. And third is this location. This third location, you can see it is analogous to the first location. Here the water was being transferred from river to canal. Here it is being transferred from canal to canal. So it is within this parent canal, in front of, right upstream of this canal head regulator for this off-taking channel. Okay, so these three types of three categories of the silt control devices are provided. But here also, the next location I have mentioned, on the downstream side of this canal head regulator, a little downstream side, but the number mentioned is 2. That means the same structure that we provide over here can be provided over here also. Of course, the magnitude or the size of the structure will be different. Okay, so same structure can be provided over here. So three categories are there. So let us tabulate them. So device symbol 1, so it is within this river at the upstream of the canal head regulator. Okay, it is within this river, this one, it is within the river and at the upstream of the canal head regulator. Here the canal head regulator, it is on the upstream side. So first device is to be provided, and its name is silt excluder, that you have discussed in the previous lecture also. Now device symbol 2, its location is downstream of the head regulator. So here we have the head regulator, and we have provided on the downstream side of the head regulator, we are providing the structure category 2. The device symbol is 2, and its name is silt ejector. Third is in parent canal. This is the parent canal. So this is within the parent canal, but on the upstream of the head regulator of offtake canal. So this is the offtake canal. So here we are going to provide the head regulator on the upstream side of the head regulator. Okay, so this is device symbol 3. So here the name of the device is either vanes, groin balls, or skimming platform. They are 3 different devices. So we'll be discussing them all one by one in this lecture. Okay, so we can provide either vanes or groin wall or skimming platform. So we have this category which can be provided at the point where the water is to be diverted from canal to canal. Okay, so like we are providing silt excluder at this point in the river. So analogous when the water is to be diverted from canal to canal. So instead of silt excluder, we can provide any one of these devices. Okay. Now, a question for you. The question is, which part of the flow has the silt concentration maximum? In which part of the flow the silt concentration is maximum, or the sediment concentration is maximum? Is it the top layer, or the bottom layer, or the intermediate layer, or on this side? Can you write the answer in the chat box, or you can speak up? In which part of the flow the silt concentration is maximum?
Top layer, sir.
Bottom layer, sir.
Top layer.
Bottom layer.
Bottom layer.
Okay.
Top layer.
Anyone who says
Top layer.
intermediate layers? I have got the two answers, top layer as well as the bottom layers. Anyone who says in the intermediate layers?
Silt bottom में होती नहीं.
Bottom
Or
layer.
Bottom layer sir.
okay. Now the answer is bottom layers, because the silt is simply the sediment particles which are either suspended or they are rolling. It is, in general, it is called sediment. The sediment size will determine whether it is silt or it is a boulder or it is something else. Okay. So basically, when the water flows from the torrential streams in the hilly area, it attains more and more velocity as it moves down, and it carries some stones or some boulders along with it. It has the tendency to drag them out. So when during their journey to the downward side, they disintegrate, they break into pieces, into smaller pieces. Okay, then it is easy for the water to carry them further. So as the water moves from higher altitudes to lower altitudes, it brings the sediment along with it, and the size of the sediment starts decreasing along with its downward journey. Okay, so larger the particle size, heavier it will be, and it will be in the bottom layers of the flow. Lesser the particle size, lesser will be the weight, and it will be easily suspended within the flowing water. The turbulence of the water will be sufficient to keep it in suspension. Okay, so most of the sediment, if you see by weight, smaller particles will be in suspension, but larger particles will be at the bottom only. They will be either rolled or they will be dragged. Generally rolling hoti hai. So they will be rolled downward, down in the downstream direction, and during their downward journey, they keep on having some impacts with other stones or other particles, and they keep on disintegrating into the smaller sizes. So the sediment size keeps on reducing as we move from the higher altitudes in the torrential streams to the plain areas where the river flows very calmly. Okay, so the velocity of the water jet, the velocity of flow determines what particle size will be kept in suspension. Okay, so what particle size will be kept in suspension, that will be determined by the flow velocity. But higher, the larger particles will keep at the bottom, and only the smaller particles comparatively, they will be in the intermediate or the top layer. They will be having, they will remain in suspension in the entire water. So the silt concentration or the sediment concentration is maximum in the bottom layers. So this concept was utilized in this structure. You have already seen this slide, silt excluder. So what you are seeing is a view from upstream to the downstream direction of a diversion headworks. So this is not the entire diversion headwork. It is one part of the diversion headwork. On the left hand side, you are seeing the guide bank. On the right hand side, you are seeing the divide wall and fish ladder. So it is the portion within the guide bank and the divide wall, as if you are standing in the pocket channel. So this is the area. This is a view from pocket channel upstream side to the downstream side. And what you see on the left hand side again further is the head regulator. And on the left hand side of it, we have the canal. So water from this river will be diverted into the canal through this head regulator. But how to prevent the entry of silt into this canal? So we utilize the concept that the silt concentration is high in the bottom layers. So what we do is we provide a silt excluder, which is provided in the form of a series of tunnels of reducing length as we move away from the head regulator. Okay, so yellow arrows represents the bottom layers which are having high silt concentration. So yellow arrows, the bottom layers basically enter into these tunnels, and on the downstream side of these tunnels, we have provided under sluice gates. So we can operate those gates to control the quantity of water which is allowed to the downstream side and silt along with these layers, this water also goes to the downstream side of the river. Okay, but the top layers or the upper layers, which are shown in blue lines, so blue line does not mean that it is 100% free of silt. It is comparatively silt free, comparatively as compared to the bottom layers. So the concentration of the silt in this particular portion of the water is lesser as compared to the bottom layer, but the suspended sediment, suspended silt, can still enter the head, this canal through these head regulators. The water is not crystal clear; it can be turbid also. Okay, that means sediment can enter into the canal also. The 100% elimination of the silt is not possible through any of the structures. But by utilizing this concept that the silt concentration is more in the bottom layers, so we can achieve cleaner and cleaner water in the canals. Okay, so this is the device category 1. We have already discussed about it. And this is the diagram which is given in the books generally for the silt excluder. Here you have the sill of the head regulator. These are the piers in which the gates will be running. You can regulate those gates to allow the quantity of water to be transferred. And here we have a series of tunnels which are going to the downstream side towards the undersluices. Okay, through these undersluices, we can control the flow of water through these tunnels. And this is the sectional view of those tunnels. Now, once the water has entered into the canal, there was only one device in the river, that is silt excluder, because the water transfer is started at this point, and at the very first level we provide silt excluder to exclude the silt from entering into the canal. But once the water has entered into the canal, so you can see this trapezoidal section of the canal, it is geometrical section, trapezium, and you can see that the length, along with the length, this cross section is maintained throughout. This trapezoidal section is maintained throughout the length. Okay, so this line is straight, or it can be a little curved depending upon the route of this canal that we decide, but generally it is kept straight in this fashion. So the water will be flowing in this way. Okay, so water will be flowing in this way. So this portion is called freeboard. This is the maximum water level that we can release into the canal, and the bank is a little above that. So this depth is called freeboard. But when the water has entered into the canal along with the suspended silt, can we remove this silt also? So the answer is the next structure, that is structure 2. So how that structure acts, how that structure performs this task of removing the silt from this water which has already entered into the canal. The silt which has already entered into this canal along with this water, how to remove it. Okay, for this, let us see, this is the top view of the canal. Okay, this is the bed width, this is one side slope, this is other side slope, and on the adjoining area shown as green, this is the natural ground level. So this is the excavated portion of the river, canal. If this is the canal, let us say that water is coming from left hand side and it is going to the right hand side. So we will be having a head regulator on this left hand side somewhere, and water is moving from left to right. So what we do is we depress the canal bed a little. So this is the depressed horizontal portion. We depress this bed over here. So this level is lower than the canal bed level. Okay, and to join these two levels, we have provided a inclined ramp. So it is not depressed all of a sudden. So from here, it is the canal bed. From here, it starts gradually going downward up to this level, and we maintain a horizontal depressed flow through up to this. And this is basically done in concrete to secure this depression of the bed and to secure this ramp also, we provide everything in concrete, with the concrete. Okay, concrete floor is provided in this fashion. And once we have this depressed this bed also, we cut this one side bank at the same level. So this cut is also provided. So we cut one side of the bank. As of now, there is no water in it. Okay, we cut downstream means one side of the bank. Then we provide a wall of this shape. One thin wall is provided of this shape. Second wall is provided. Third wall is provided. Fourth wall is provided in this fashion. So they are low height walls, very thin walls, and their top level of these walls is little above the canal bed level. Okay, little above the canal bed level. So what you see is here the gap between the walls is very high. Here the gap between these walls is low. We can provide these intermediate walls also, which may not run up to this end, but they are provided in intermediate position and they run up to these points only, here, here, and here. Okay, so the water which will be going through this, they will be ultimately merging here. So here and here, they will be merging over here. Okay, so they are provided in this fashion. So the height of all these walls, the top level of the wall is at the same level, and that is a little above this canal bed level. Thereafter, we cover it with the concrete slab. Very thin diaphragm slab is provided on the top. It is covered on the top side. But you see here, we have not provided any slab. So the water in the bottom layer has the passage in this portion to move underside of this slab and go into these tunnels. Here also, we provide this concrete slab. The yellow lines, again indicating the bottom layers with high silt content, they move along the bed, and here you can see they have entered below the diaphragm slab. So this slab, I have made this slab a little transparent so that you can see the these walls also. So where these flow lines are entering, and ultimately they are diverted here and go to the sideways. So the flow of water in the canal is here, but the bottom layers are segregated to move out of this canal. Okay, the top layers, they move to the downstream side just above the diaphragm slab. The top layers, they do not enter into this portion, so top layers move further. So the bottom layers can be separated out and they can be removed out of this canal. Okay, but how much quantity of water can be removed, should be removed, for that we provide gates over here also. Like 3 gates we have provided for these 3 channels, 3 tunnels. So we can operate these gates and we can control the quantity of water to be released to the outward side. Okay. Now, once we have achieved this, we plug this excavated portion of the bank in this fashion, so that now this channel section remains intact. Again, only the bottom portion has got some opening where the bottom layers will be entering into this portion, and they will be collected through this series of tunnels and they will be taken to the outward direction. So this is called silt ejector. Okay, so this is the second category, silt ejector, and this is the diagram that is available in the books. You can see this is the canal. Here we have the gap, some diaphragm slab is there. If you see this section AB, it is here. Some diaphragm slab is also provided at section AB. This is the canal bed level. It is depressed a little in this fashion, and in this portion, these walls are provided. So you can see these walls are very sharp. Means they are offering the bell mouth entry into the every tunnel, and ultimately the water is collected and ultimately released to the outfall channel.